so soothing.
It's a communist Christmas, everybody.
A red Christmas.
A red Christmas.
That sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, honestly. Sounds like a movie we should create.
Yeah. You and I, specifically?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 3. Thanks.
Episode 4, technically.
Well, okay, 4, yeah.
I don't know if you count the last one.
The lost video episode. Appreciate you putting up with no audio episode last week, just the video as we watched the live commentary of the Republican debates.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting yet non-interesting thing at the same time.
Yeah, we had fun with it, but I think it was I don't know. It was nothingness.
There's not much content, to be honest. It's not much without Trump.
I think that was the big takeaway, right? Was like how little, how well, I mean, and you know, it's the fucked up part is like we're talking about it as like an entertaining thing when like it's supposed to be the serious like future of our country or whatever, yada yada yada, and like we're just like, well, it would have been more fun if Trump was there to like stir up the pot.
Yeah, but
like,
here's the thing: is just like what American politics is personality, and people are gonna rile behind the person with the most ridiculous personality.
For sure,
you know,
it's just like no part of us. And I guess we're different because we're already coming from a place of like, you know, leftism and cynicism and like absolute like leaving electoral politics kind of. There was no like. Let me collect my thoughts here. We're coming from a place where like no matter what happens, like it's not like we're gonna take any of those seriously. Like right, you know, like there's this mythical like independent voter that's like this centrist that kind of, you know, these swing voters that go either way in every election that like all the politicians or all the pundits talk about of like, you know, which way are they going to break, Biden or Trump, and it's like
the silent majority.
We're never one of those people, so it's not like we were ever going to take anything from the Republican debate that wasn't like cynicism and just making fun of it. But like even still, it just seems so silly that like, you know, it's this performance. It's just a performative piece with no actual substance.
I do have to say though that, you know, Americans need to be entertained, and if you don't entertain them, they will not pay attention. So actually one good thing that does come out of something like this is, yes, it is performative, but if it is performative enough where you have people's grasp, they will actually listen to politics, which actually is a net benefit in the end because people are actually paying attention to what is happening. So if that's the way we got to do it, that's the way we got to do it. That's why I made and you made this podcast. It's just like it is basically how can we inform people while they're still being able to like retain some sort of entertainment. Yeah. You know, otherwise they wouldn't listen to us.
And I think on the complete other side of that spectrum is why Trump was so popular, right? Like retaining interest as like an entertainer and keeping it entertaining.
He's brilliant at it. It's just short-term span.
Yeah.
You know, short memory people that are just like using obnoxious quotes, but it's the headliners. Yeah. And then people will pay attention to that. Media makes more money. As much as they hate him, they actually love him because Fox News and CNN, their ratings were never higher than when they had Trump in the news.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, MSNBC, that claims to be like this leftist news organization, or I don't know if they won't claim that. I think they would probably claim that they're centrist, but like they're the left-leaning of the news organizations, or the liberal. Let me rephrase that. They're the liberal of the news organizations, and even they like, in some boardroom somewhere, they're just dying for more Trump, right? Because that gets hate views on their side, and like on the Fox News side, it gets these admiration views. So like it's a win-win for all the media outlets.
It's a win for Trump,
and it's a win for Trump
because Trump wants the attention, and he loves that he can't give certain media conglomerates attention, and it kind of like, you know, thrives his ego.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get back to what we were going to get to.
And before we get too far along, if you are listening to this on the audio version, just please remember there is a video version if you prefer. Revolutionary Rhetoric on YouTube if you prefer to watch as opposed to listen. Before we get too far ahead, pause this podcast in your podcast app and go open it on your YouTube app if that's how you get down.
And you people watching us right now, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, anything to, you know, trigger the algorithm a little bit better, because YouTube does not like communists.
No, it doesn't. Oh wait, can I say something I've always wanted to say?
Sure.
Go ahead and smash that like button.
Yeah.
my dream to say that.
I've been saying that for a while. Nobody's been doing it.
No, well, hopefully they do this time.
No, this time it's a little different. Last time just basically making gaming videos, a bunch of 13-year-olds watching me.
Yeah.
But a little bit more serious now. I feel like a little bit more of an impact onto society instead of, us playing Apex for fucking 8 hours at a time.
I've never played Apex.
Really?
Counter-Strike 2 came out, though.
Oh, God.
I haven't played it yet, but I'm thinking about it. I'm getting there.
I downloaded Counter-Strike for like 10 minutes and then I took it off.
Like, nope.
I felt like I was in like 2003.
Oh, before we also get too far ahead, shout out to like the one person listening in China or Asia, I should say, and then shout out to the one person listening in Europe.
Yeah, there we go. It's all over the world, baby.
We're international now.
Yeah, there we go with the one person.
Where'd it go?
Oh yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have any requests, like if you want us to do a certain type of video, like a historic video or anything like that.
Yeah, and also
give us ideas.
Don't forget, we have social media for a reason. We have an email address for a reason. We'll do all the links at the end. But please write in if you want to chat. You want to message us. We are two real people who are just two real dudes. We're here. We'll respond. It's not like we get a lot of comments that we can't respond. So if you ever want to get a hold of us, now's the time.
Yeah, before we supposedly take off. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways.
Well, I want to move on to news of the day.
Well, news of the week, really.
News of the week, yeah, news of the last couple weeks.
Great. I mean, we got some great news, though. The writers won the strike.
Yeah, writers won. The writer strike is over. The WGA strike is over. Writers won. Actor strike's still going.
Yeah.
But hopefully this...
They'll cave in.
Yeah, this writers win hopefully gives some momentum and kind of, I don't know, just...
Well, the root of it all is the writers. The actors have nothing to act out until the writers write a scenario for them to act out. So I think they're just going from the bottom up now that they have the writers all, figured out. They're going to have to get the actors figured out as well, because those are two parts to the puzzle as well, producers and all that other stuff. But maybe they're part of it as well.
Well, who are?
The producers and
the producers is the AMPMA. If I ever forget the acronym, it's the producers are all.
Goddamn acronyms.
Yeah, well, the producers are the side against the writers in the that's the executives.
Yeah, well, the executives. I mean, like producers. I mean, like the person editing the video.
Oh no, that's all IATSE stuff. I
Yeah.
think that's like the people like the makeup, the sets, mic, audio engineers, all those guys. That's all part of the union IATSE. They almost went on strike.
Oh, they should have, man. They were
That
like
was
a triple whammy.
When was that? Like June, March, April, May, June, sometime earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year. I don't know. Time is a flat circle, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They almost went on strike, and then that strike was avoided. But I think a lot of IATSE people have been out on the picket lines with WGA and SAG. But now that the WGA strike is over, shout out to all our comrades in the WGA. That's what actual labor action looks like. They went on strike. They had what I would consider reasonable demands. They lasted 5 months, 5+ months, and then they won.
And you have to remember, at the end of the day, the workers are the one creating the value. Like as much as they want to throw that capitalist propaganda around, he's like, oh, the capitalists are the ones who invest, to do the risk and invest the money. None of this is created without the actual physical workers creating the product. And this is throughout all different types of sectors, whether it be industry, whether it be music, whether it be, whatsoever, anything. We are the labor. We are the value. So they have to eventually cave in. So with this, they have gotten a couple of different things.
Yeah.
They have gotten a lot of AI restrictions. So this is one of the biggest things.
Yeah, no, we talked about that.
Yeah. I'm so glad they got this, because now the AI cannot write scripts. It cannot edit scripts or undermine writers' rights or credits.
Yeah, I think I saw one thing somewhere that they can use AI for certain within certain limited capacities, and if they do, it has to be very clearly labeled as such, written by AI, and so like it has to be, and it can only be like in a first draft capacity, and so it's very limited, and any use of AI is incredibly limited and also very transparent now.
That's great. No, but the thing is, there's nothing wrong with AIs. Is how they use it.
Yeah,
because AI is it's just machinery. It's not like physical machinery, but it's digital machinery.
Yeah,
it's just another tool that these writers can use. The problem is, can the tools replace the writers? Yes, and that was one of the whole points of the strike, is to make sure that they are not entirely replaced.
I somewhat disagree. I think the first episode I was maybe a little more light on AI. But I don't know. I've been reading more and learning more in the last like 3-4 weeks. I've kind of turned a corner, and I'm now firmly anti AI again. I'm in the anti AI camp.
100% anti-AI?
Just ban it as best. Lead in paint or lead in the lead in paint as best as in our ceiling. It leads to nothing good. Get rid of it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think maybe for minimalistic, like you said, the first draft, just to not create the plots or scenarios, but like little things in between major scenes, it could help the writers, not have to like worry about all that little nonsense stuff that has to be done, or the production team. But again, I'm not part of the Writers Guild, nor am I an actor, so I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just out of educated guesses.
Yeah.
But so besides that, they got major races.
Yeah.
They got better health benefits, and they also got a better pension, which a lot of the health benefits were not there because you'd have to work completely full time to get them.
Yeah,
and a lot of them were like 32 hours.
I think I forget there was a very famous statistic that came out of this, which was like 85% of all WGA members don't qualify for the WGA health insurance.
Yeah,
it was some exorbitant number that was because they had to make like. And it was so low. It was like 27,000 a year or something. And so like the vast 8 out of 10 riders in the WGA make less than like 30,000 a year or whatever, or 40,000 a year or whatever the number was, because that's what it took to qualify for the WGA healthcare, and none of them did. And it was just like that just goes to show you that these are not like Hollywood elite, guys. No. This is like they're also just working class people in Los Angeles or New York, and they're just writing as a job, and it's like a minimum wage job, these entry level kind of writing room jobs.
That's absolutely psychotic to me. A writer's job should be minimum like $80,000 a year in my.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to specifics like that. Like, it depends on whatever. But like, yeah, but at least a livable wage.
Most of them live in L.A.,
Yeah, and that's.
$80,000 a year is almost nothing.
Or New York, right? Which is even I don't know if it's. I was going to say even worse. I don't know if it's worse. I assume so.
It's as bad.
At least as bad. So yeah, that's insane. And like that's one thing, right? Like a living wage, but also couple that with the profit that the studios make, right? With how much money these studios like Warner Brothers, Fox, whatever are making. That combined with how little they're paying, I think. Well, we're beating a dead horse.
Well, I mean, one of the things they've actually were successfully able to get from this is they have what's called a success-based residual. So basically, that's the better the show does or the movie does on whatever it's on Netflix, on HBO.
Yeah.
The more money they make. Of course, there's a certain threshold they have to make. I believe I listened to Adam Conover, I think. I heard him talk on Hasanabi's show. Basically, they have to have like a fifth of Netflix viewers viewing the show. And this is specifically for Netflix.
Right.
And then that residual will take into effect, which is not hard if you have a show like
I don't know, Stranger Things or
Black
Stranger
Mirror
Things,
or whatever, exactly.
Right?
And so now there's an incentive to make these shows better, to make, because there's been a huge problem of like quality
slop.
Dude,
slop. Well, I think I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about like I don't know if it was Netflix specifically, but they were talking about the idea of like second screen viewing, where it's like they're writing and pitching, they're declining pitches that are too good because they want them to be what they call second screen viewing. They want stuff that's only good enough to have on in the background while you're on your phone. Well, it's a second screen show is what they call it, or a second screen media or second screen content. They're like, if they hear a pitch that's too good, they don't want it to be like they pass on it because then they'd have to pay more for it. So they want to find that sweet spot where it's just entertaining enough to have on your TV, so you're getting those views, but not enough that like anyone's clamoring for it or like really paying attention to it. So it's a second screen content or second screen media.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I will back that up. I've heard that from another podcast, so that is like hearsay. Second, like whether or not what that's about. I want to say that was somebody like writing into another media podcast, and like they were a writer, and it was a first-hand account writing into a podcast, which is me telling about that podcast where I heard that thing, maybe half remembered, a couple drinks in.
You're confused. I'm fucking confused, bro.
A couple months ago, so I'll include some notes down there. But I think that just illustrates the point of like how far they're willing to go to like ride that line of like mediocrity in an effort to just not pay anything.
No, it makes sense because at the end of the day, they're just looking for production. They're looking to make much money as possible while spending the least amount of money as possible. And if that entails into going into the human psyche and just understanding how what people do during their day. For example, I go home, I play, my video games on one screen, and on my second screen, I'll have politics or I'll have something.
I'm doing the same thing with my two monitors
and I
on my
think
computer.
that is quite a common occurrence nowadays. So it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But now here's the problem: is just we want to go to a movie theater to watch a quality movie. When I want a one screen thing, there is none anymore,
Yeah.
or it's
very very few and far between. But like I said last episode or the second episode, I haven't been to a movie theater in forever. Like I don't remember last time I went to a movie theater. I don't know. It's been I think it's been
dude. I think
years.
I watched. What's that movie with Adam Driver? Was it like 65 AD or something?
Oh, 65, yeah.
60
It's just called
garbage.
65. Yeah, I saw that one. I saw it on streaming though. I saw it on Amazon or something.
Dude,
It was on Netflix, I think.
It was so bad. I'm
Yeah,
like, it's Adam Driver. It's got to be pretty decent. I thought it was an amateur movie.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought this movie is amateur. Like the production cost must have been so low, and it probably was.
Probably was. I mean, just like a jungle and just Adam Driver. There's a little bit of special effects at the beginning and some dinosaurs here and there.
But the plot, it was horrible. Like,
yeah, I gotta admit, I didn't hate that movie.
I didn't hate it. It's just not.
I thought it was a really cool idea. Like, I thought it was going to go in a different way, and they were going to be like Adam and Eve or something. But like, or it was going to. Obviously, the timeline doesn't work there by like millions of years, tens of millions of years. But I was like, is that where they're going with this? But
yeah, I mean,
slight spoilers for 65, a movie that wasn't very good and came out last year.
Yeah, I mean that would have been better, honestly. That's right there. It's going to be the writer, and he wrote better material.
They get frozen in they get cryogenically frozen at the end of the movie, and then they wake up 65 million later, and then they're Adam and Eve.
Yeah,
done. Pay me, Netflix or whatever.
Oh no, bro, they just stole it. But yeah, so of course quality goes down as the production value goes up because they're just basically trying to make a buck. But now with this writers, what the writers have won is better because not only will they make more money, the quality of the product that comes out is going to be better. Mm-hmm. There's a couple things I want to say here about it. For example, guaranteed minimum number of writers have to be hired for each show.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that is huge because they're basically overworking these people and having maybe two people write an entire show or an entire episode.
Yeah.
And it's just so much work for two people. But now they're like everything, say, for example, for one company and these 5 writers, they expect to have 5 writers per episode so they can actually distribute the labor between 5 people properly. So now maybe the quality of your show might get better.
Maybe.
Because there's going to have 5 different inputs of different ideas for a show.
If backing up one thing you just said too about pay scaled with viewership, that will now require these streaming services to release their viewership numbers, which is something they have like refused to do for years. Like that's the whole thing, is like it's a mystery how many people are watching Netflix. Nobody knows how many people watch Stranger Things. Netflix will say it's the most watched show on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's all they'll say, and we have no relativity for what that means. So it's supposed to be. I read that it was going to be internal only, like those numbers were for like writers and they're not going to be publicly released. But there's no way in hell those don't get leaked, and that's what I'm looking for. So like I'm actually hella curious how many people are watching Red Notice or watching like the Extraction movies or like these weird janky movies that Netflix just keeps pumping out that are like they all seem to have Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and like and Gal Gadot, and it's like, is anybody watching these? And they're spending $200 million on these movies, and it's like
you'd be surprised. A lot of older people will watch all these.
Well,
movies,
I guess now we'll know. So
my parents, I walk in, they're watching like a great C movie, like the effects. You walk in, the effects, it looks like some guy in like his 11th grade art class,
film studies or whatever.
Yeah, film studies. You're like,
well, now we'll know. So
that's good. That's
cool.
Good. So yeah, there's also script fees for staff writers for the first time, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, there's a lot of other minor things.
All in all, good win. Do we want to watch that clip from Adam Conover?
Yeah, let's. Let me give you like basically a short rundown of a person who knows what they're talking about a lot better than I do. If this mouse wants to work,
click the left button.
So the writer's strike is finally over, and I am so happy to tell you that we fucking won. This is the contract that we just spent the last 148 days fighting for. And let me tell you what's in it. A guarantee that a minimum number of writers be hired on every show. A guarantee that comedy variety writers like me be paid the same in streaming as we are in TV. Provisions that mean better pay for screenwriters, better pension and health for writing teams, script fees for staff writers for the first time, and protections against AI that mean that AI can't write scripts, edit scripts, or undermine our rights and credits. And we won a success-based residual. So for the first time, when more people watch a movie or TV show on streaming, the writer that created it will make more money too. These are all things that they swore to us 5 months ago they would never give us in a million years. But we went on strike and we hung together until they were forced to come to the table and meet our demands. And we changed not just our industry for ourselves, but for every writer who comes after us. And I am so proud of us. Thank you to every writer who made this victory happen, and thank you to every fellow worker who stood with us. We are going to stand with you as well, because what this proves is that when workers stand together, we win. And now, let's get back to writing.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, they got everything they wanted. That's what you want to see. Hopefully, SAG is next, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I remember I heard somewhere else that it was only like a 2-year contract, and the reason why they did that is because you don't want to give, if like for example the AI portion of it wasn't enough, there's a short enough amount of time where they can actually update the contract for AI.
Oh, okay. So they have that like clause or that caveat kind of built in.
Yeah. So if it's a 2-year contract or something, they have enough time where they're like, okay, AI's taken over, we got to change it.
Cool.
All right. For the next portion here, we're going to be talking about Feinstein.
And just I think general Congress news. But yeah, Dianne Feinstein is dead.
Fuck her.
Feinstein.
Technically German
Dianne
pronunciation
Feinstein?
is Feinstein.
Feinstein. Yeah,
But
I think I've always heard.
Feinstein.
I think I've always heard Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. Who cares? I don't give a crap about her anyways.
Yeah, good riddance. I just just more of the Henry Kissinger meme. Is Henry Kissinger even in this thing? Another one bites the dust. By all accounts, pretty awful lady, and of course. No surprise, the first thing we see is just a bunch of like liberal news articles about how the same thing that happened like when McCain died.
Yeah.
Everyone praising, or when RBG Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, just all the praise lobbed their way, and it's like, but what I've really enjoyed seeing is all of the montages of just all of her awful policies and terrible things she said and
it's
done.
got to be exposed, But let's talk about how old this bitch actually was, because she was born in 1933. She died at 90. She died. I think it was a couple hours before she died. She was literally voting.
Yeah.
And so she first served as any political office as a member of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors from like 1970 to 1978. 1970, she was 37. So when she started, she was 37. And this is 1970.
Yeah.
Mind you, much of our parents were not even born then, and she was already like 40.
Yeah.
And she was a president in 1978 for that board, and then she became the mayor in 1978, like the very end, until 1988. And
here we go. Now I'm born in 1988. Now I was born.
Yeah, and she in 1988. I mean, she's already like 50.
Yeah.
She's already 50.
Yeah, she's pushing 50. Yeah.
And she's already been in office for like 10 years. And mind you, this is when the night soccer incident happened. So I don't know if you remember that. There was a whole Netflix documentary.
I'd just been born, so no, I don't remember it.
Not physically. If you've seen a video.
Remind me.
So basically, it's like a serial killer that was on the loose for months.
Yeah.
And he's basically coming to people's homes, raping them, and then killing them.
Oh, no.
Yes, and this was going on for a while. The police almost had him because they had multiple clues. And then those clues... She had to be told because it was the police of San Francisco, and the police of San Francisco explained to her the clues, and then she went out to the press and basically told what the clues were.
Oh no!
And basically told the guy like what they're looking for, so the guy could just totally change up his whole thing. Eventually got caught, went to jail and everything, and I think he went to death. He was put to death, but she basically messed up, and multiple other people died because of her. Excuse me. And so in 1992, she became senator. Until the day she died. So she was senator before I was even alive. I mean, good lord. And then she was in
When
senator.
were you born?
95.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was a senator for 3 years before I even died. Before I even died. 3 years before I was even born.
Yeah. Old. I mean, this is like this. So there's a lot to talk about here, right? Yeah. There's so much to unpack with her. There's the like terrible like neoliberal politics that she's had literally for half a century. Well, no, I mean, well, yeah, in politics, half a century. There's also the like American, like I don't know, is unique to America? I assume. I don't know of any other country that I'm aware of that like keeps people in office long past their mental capacity is gone, their physical capacity is gone. Just like everyone running our country, or like in like campaigning to run our country, they're all like, who's the youngest? Like Trump is the youngest at 78 or something, or 77.
For what aspect?
For anything, just for anyone who's running, like Mitch McConnell. I mean, obviously you have younger senators and congressmen, but I'm saying like Biden, Trump, McConnell, Feinstein, like everyone that's in.
Well, anybody
power.
that's in has major power. You know, Pelosi is like late 80s.
No, Pelosi. Sure.
She's in her I believe she's in her late 80s. Bernie Sanders, I wouldn't say he's major power, but he's been in office for a while. He's like 82. Biden, I mean, the dude is literally a walking corpse.
80, I think.
Yeah, he's I think he's a year older than
I think
Trump.
that's a uniquely American thing. Is just to like keep these people in long past the time they should retire. It's almost sad. Like, go enjoy your life. Go spend time with your family. You weirdo. But I mean,
dude, they've got like a contract with the devil or something. I can't even tell you, man.
Well, I mean, like the McConnell thing is like a pretty illustrative like example of what's like the negative side of this, right? Of being too old, like of him just
McConnell
like
and Feinstein.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that was what I was talking about. That was a pretty good one. Like, the most recent thing being in the news is McConnell, of just like him glitching
and a string of
But Feinstein, like, it was fairly recently where it was a call to vote, right? And she just had to say, aye or nay or whatever, and she just like looked like she like was just jolted awake or like out of it, and then just started like reading or like just talking. And some aide walked up to her and was just like, "You just have to say aye," and then so she was like, "Huh, aye." And then like what the fuck, like completely out of it, and like whatever, maybe
Jesus Christ,
like where if your aides have to like handle you to like do your job, you should probably think about retiring.
Yeah. Well, I heard as I was like reading on all this, doing the research, there was an aide that basically 10 years ago saying that she wasn't even there. Like 10 years ago, she wasn't there. So she's literally just like a moving corpse. Like they prop her up on a stick, basically, and then just tell her what to say.
Weekend at Diane's, man.
Yeah. But yeah, as for Dianne Feinstein, in her own right, and when she's younger in the 70s, 80s, she was progressive, but then she was stuck there. You know what I mean? So she was progressive in the 70s and 80s, but she was stuck there. She was decent on abortion. She supported capital punishment until 2018. Then supposedly she changed her mind, but I don't think a person who's not there can change her mind.
Yeah, what mind to change?
Yeah, exactly. She didn't support any version of the Green Deal. I don't know if you remember the Sunrise, the Sunrise movement. That she said there's no way to pay for it. I mean, like it's literally like
there's a lot of ways to pay for it.
Yeah, there's literally a Republican, at that point. Then we go to like foreign policy, China. I read this and I had to be dying. So I had a quote for Feinstein supported a conciliatory approach from China and Taiwan and fostered increased dialogue between high-level Chinese representatives and the U.S. senators during the first term of
senator. During her first term as senator, so the early 90s.
Yes. When asked about her relation with Beijing, Feinstein said, "I sometimes say that in my last life I was maybe Chinese."
Okay, weird. Maybe somewhat racist. I don't know. Why? Do you know why?
I don't know. And she just liked China a lot, and that's from that's what I got from them. Yeah, she supported the Iran nuclear deal agreement, and also voted for the Iraq War. Again, she supposedly later said that she regretted it.
Yeah.
One thing that actually surprised me is she's actually pretty good with Israel.
Yeah.
She condemned the illegal settlements and urged Obama to veto one-sided resolutions that favored Israel.
Yeah.
She also condemned Trump's decision to move the capital to Jerusalem. So I do have to give props where props are due. She was good with Israel.
Pretty good on Palestine relations.
Yes.
Okay.
But when it came to like North Korea, she was like your average Democratic shill. But she did have a few like coherent thoughts at certain points where she urged in 2017 for like a high level dialogue with North Korea without any prerequisites. So that's a good thing. But again, this is all way later in life. I don't believe this is her. In 2017, this is apparently what she said in 2017. And
yeah, she would have been, what, 85?
Yeah.
Give or take?
In 2018, she was like against the death penalty now. So she's changing all these views out of nowhere in their last 5 years of life.
I wonder how much of that, and this is like the most cynical and like conspiracy theory minded, but I wonder how much of that is just like her handlers kind of like, she has some young progressive aide that's like, well, I'm going to just swing in here, take advantage of this, like,
That's what I'm saying. That's I actually don't believe it. It was like it all happened at once. I'm like, she just became suddenly progressive. It's like, no, nobody does that.
Yeah. That's suspect.
Gun control. She introduced the federal assault weapons ban in 94.
She was the one who actually introduced that?
Yeah, that's what I found. Okay. And that expired in 2004. Had a sunset clause.
Yeah.
I'm pretty anti-gun in a general sense. I'm for a federal assault weapons ban. But I'm not totally against banning guns. Whatsoever. I think you should be able to have a shotgun or a bolt-action rifle or a pistol as long as there's proper regulation. But the stupid thing is that there was a sunset clause. Why put a sunset clause? Why even introduce the bill then?
Yeah, I am pro-gun. I am not anti-gun, and I don't. I take big issues with the federal assault weapons ban in '94. This messed up a lot of things. I'm not to get too far into the specifics of this, but it limited a lot of like importing deals. It changed the way we import and sell like outside like manufacturers. So like you can no longer get like Galil. Well, it doesn't matter, but like there's a lot of guns you can't get. As a gun guy, I have big beef with this bill. So we'll agree.
You
to
like
disagree
guns,
on that
bro.
one.
You like guns.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That one, I side with the chuds on that one. But yeah, healthcare.
With healthcare, she supported the Affordable Care Act, which is garbage. It's basically the original right wing from a right wing think tank.
Mitt
Romney proposed.
I remember
and then
that.
suddenly the fucking Republicans are against it. I'm like, it was your guys' idea.
It was Romney's original brainchild. It was like the Massachusetts plan originally, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So she basically was for a Republican plan. And later on, she said she was in favor of public option to achieve supposed universal health care. But she also, in 2017, in a hall meeting in San Francisco, said that she does not believe in a single-payer system because if a single-payer system means the government's going to take over everything, I am not there. I am not for it. So
she doesn't approve of nationalization.
Yeah, she doesn't approve of nationalization. So pretty much she's just a fucking healthcare shill.
Yeah.
With weed, she opposed any type of legal cannabis, except later on she kind of was like, okay, maybe for veterans, with the PTSD.
Typical boomer stuff. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. She said it was a gateway drug. For military, she voted for the extension of the Patriot Act and for FISA provisions in 2012, and is known to have a hawkish stance on matters of national security.
Yeah.
Basically, she was a bought stooge of the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. I would be curious to see a breakdown of like campaign donations by industry, and
for all of the politicians.
Yeah, but I just for that, like I imagine there's a lot of
and
she was California too, right? She was a senator of California. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of military bases there too. That that matters. When
if you're a Democratic politician or Republican politician, you're bought.
Yeah. For sure.
Besides a few like Bernie Sanders, he obviously doesn't take money from the military-industrial complex. It may be like one other person, but that's about it. And then she supposedly died of natural causes. I mean, she's fucking 90.
What does that mean
face
when
is
you're 90
melting.
years old, when your just organs are shutting down or whatever? Yeah, I mean, not to be too insensitive or like ageist to other, not her specifically, but just other people. Yeah, I mean, like when you get to that age, it's whatever.
I'm sensitive toward people that deserve the sensitivity, but
Sure.
she's just a fucking goon. Fuck her. I don't care.
Yeah.
And she's lucky she lived this long, to be honest.
Well, I don't know. I forgot who. I don't know. Did Newsom already appoint somebody? Because I think Newsom gets to appoint now the senator that's going to act.
I'm not sure if he appointed anybody.
Last I saw, he didn't. But at the time of this recording, I don't believe he had. But I could be wrong. And if
we could probably put that up on the next episode. We'll
check in on it. This is an ever evolving thing. Just like what we're going to talk about next time, for this next story, the temporary House Speaker was announced. So there is a new temporary House Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah. He's there. That's the article I just pulled up. But I'll get that going if you want to kind of. If we're done talking about the devil, Dianne Feinstein, we can talk about.
Yes. All right. Where do we go from this? Good God, this came out of nowhere. To be honest with me, like I wasn't paying attention, and this pops up. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Nobody did. That was the whole point. Is like
I didn't know much about it. Like I literally had to read up today to see what the hell's going on because I knew a little bit about it, but like
yeah, I think they were literally like leaving for the day, and then Matt Gaetz just out of nowhere just called for this like whatever vote to like.
So McCarthy, so there was supposed to be a government shutdown. McCarthy supposedly behind the backs of the Republicans was making some sort of deals with the Democrats, so there wasn't a government shutdown. I mean, that's kind of like what you kind of want to do. You don't want a government shutdown right now with everything that's going on. A few of the MAGA Republicans, like which there are now,
MTG, Boebert, Gates.
Yeah, exactly. These people were very anti this happening because basically anything to do with the Democrats is anti-Trump. Because the Democrats are on a supposed witch hunt against Trump. So if you're working with the Democrats at all with anything, you're basically turning your back on Trump. And so Gaetz here is sucking the fucking massive cock that Trump has. And basically that he announced that McCarthy should be, forced out. This was a horrible move on the Republicans' part because now we got like a little mini revolutionary civil war, between the Republican Party. Not many on the side of Matt Gaetz, but here's the thing. If there's enough people on Matt Gaetz' side, Democrats are going to vote yes 100%. So the Democrats are definitely going to vote yes, and I think there was already a vote on it, and I think every single Democrat voted yes, and 7 Republicans also voted yes, and those 7 Republicans were enough to bring it over, in which he was basically thrown out from his role.
Yeah, it's like 216 to 210. I think it was a pretty close vote.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of conversations about like, will the Democrats choose, because they could have chosen to keep him. It was completely in their hands.
Yeah.
And I guess McCarthy, for his side of things, didn't try very hard. He didn't ask to be saved. I don't think he wanted to be saved, frankly. I mean, do you remember what it took to get him as speaker? It took 15 rounds of voting. It's never taken that long before. Just chaos in the speaker. We didn't have a speaker for like however many days or weeks. There wasn't a speaker of the House, and he was just hanging on by a thread from day one. He was like, nobody wanted him there on either side, and so this is not all that surprising.
Well, actually, I have a quote here that I found. Representative Mark Pocan said, "We either side with a sociopath or with the incompetent." So basically, McCarthy is the incompetent, which I mean, kind of is.
Yeah.
And then there's a sociopath, which is Gaetz, because he's basically a child molester, child trafficker. And so at that point, you're like, okay, obviously the Republicans realize that McCarthy wasn't the best deal, but they're going to want him to stay there because why? Yeah. Even though he's not the best speaker of the House, he's also not going to rock the boat.
Yeah, he's not a psychopath. I mean, he's a shitty Republican, but he's not an actual like QAnon psychopath. So
yeah, I mean, he's any Republican that's an actually Republican politician is a psychopath. But
sure,
they're a reasonable psychopath.
Yeah,
in a sense, Gaetz is just like, when you're a Republican and you're QAnon, you're like, dude, this guy's lost his fucking mind.
That level of like devoid of all logic and reasoning, and just it's impossible to kind of break through. The interim House Speaker, what was his name? They did appoint somebody as a temporary speaker. Patrick McHenry.
The guy looks like John Oliver.
Yeah. It actually does. He's got the bow tie going, the glasses. Yeah, it's North Carolina Representative Patrick McHenry. He has now been named just kind of the interim speaker. There will be more votes elections for the speaker. Democrats are putting forward Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, I mean, it won't. I mean, they don't have the votes. Obviously, they have the minority in the House, so like it won't really matter. I think that's more of just throwing their hat in the ring. But we'll see. I mean, I imagine it'll be just another nightmare scenario. I think so here's the interesting standstill is I think the problem, the reason it's so hard to find a speaker and the reason McCarthy has such a hard time is because he's a relatively like, I don't want to use the term moderate Republican, but he's not like a far right, like the ultra far right MAGA Republican. He's I think what you could call, for the sake of argument, a moderate Republican.
He's a paleoconservative, like
the old school McCain or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
I think even McCain would be like liberal by today's standards. But like, regardless, the problem is that the people on the far right are blocking him, like the Gateses, the Boeberts, the Greens. They're going to block anybody that's like of McCarthy's politics.
Yeah, but
there's such a razor thin Republican margin that you need those like 8 guys on the MAGA flank. And so it's going to be the same thing again. They're never going to be happy with the McCarthy type, and Democrats are never going to be happy with anybody they put up, and you need the Democrats because of the small margins, and there's enough moderate Republicans that aren't going to support like Gates for speaker or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like I think that we're in for another clown circus of a speaker choosing where it's just going to be like weeks and weeks of just multiple rounds of votings and just and so here's the kicker to all this is that any progress in Congress is just going to absolutely just grind to a halt. There's going to be zero progress made. Not that there's a whole lot of progress made on a good day.
Sounds like Bosnia.
Oh, I know I can't speak to that, but I just literally nothing's going to get passed. So there's just going to be our government will stand to come to a screeching halt. But there's also the extension for the government shutdown.
It's extended to what, the 17th of November?
Yeah. So that's what, a little over a month away. If there's no speaker by then, there won't be a vote. So like the government will shut down by default. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
I mean, if there is an interim speaker, I think that will be able to play out.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I don't know the rules. I'm not well versed on like the rules of the House, but like how long does he have? Is there a limit to like how many days he can serve without being elected? I don't know. I imagine that's going to be their top priority, just as Congress, is to get a speaker chosen. So what
I'm not 100% certain on either. Again, we can bring this up on the next podcast.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be really interesting.
I think more dust will have settled on this whole Congress mess.
It takes a second, and you know, by the time we do our research and we hear other people explain the situation, then we'll be able to let you guys know. Otherwise, we're just talking out of our ass on that portion.
That's fun.
Yeah. And as it's for the government shutdown, again, it is temporarily extended to November 17th. Hopefully there'll be some kind of speaker until then, so people can get their social security checks and fucking eat food.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think from now until the extension is over? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think there's going to be a speaker chosen?
I don't know. Based on how long it took last time, 15 rounds of voting, and just chaos, and like I remember when Gates and McCarthy almost got into a fist fight on the floor, and this was in January, I think, or maybe late December. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. With Congress, it's impossible to tell. There's just like, it's the least productive, like most asinine group of man babies and just grown children that you could ever assemble into one building and then just let them have all the power of the federal government. It's an insane system that we have, and I hate it here.
So now the Republicans originally wanted there to be essentially a government shutdown because they did not want to pass what the Democrats had. Do you think this is their way of doing it regardless of what's going to happen? Do you think this was kind of like the plan?
Like, do you think this is a backdoor, like 200 IQ, big brain Matt Gates play where he backdoored this vote to oust McCarthy in an attempt
and that's why he's not fighting it so hard?
I don't know if I want to give Matt Gates that much credit. I
don't think it would be Matt Gates. I think it would be somebody
within. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past. You know, they are, for what it's worth, they may be dumb, but they're still kind of shrewd politicians, right? They're not incompetent.
Hear me out. If you're going to shut down the government, a lot of people won't understand that it's the Republicans that are causing it because they're not voting for something. Yeah. You know, but it's the Biden's presidency, and there is a year left. If this happens right now, where people are not getting during the election season, I think it might make Biden's points drop.
Well, it would never surprise me that
and I think
Republicans would fuck over like elderly and working class people trying to collect pensions and Social Securities. Yeah, in an effort just to like take a couple political points or like a percentage points off of Biden's polling. That would not surprise me in the least. That would be just incredibly heinous and despicable, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, these people are heinous. I mean, the amount of wars and death that these people have, you know, pushed onto the earth.
I don't know. That would be like, as far as like a campaign strategy, that's a pretty sound tactic. That sounds pretty smart to me. I mean, eventually
everything's going to come back together, and you know, society will resume with after the government shutdown. But even if it's for a month, you know,
I think if anything, this would be. I mean, I guess it's not. I was going to say it's too early, but you know, it's only this budget bill happens once a year. There's no other time to do it. So if you were going to just, if this was a card you had to play, I mean, there's no if you're a Republican with no moral compass and no like sense of ethics or whatever, then yeah, sure. There's see what happens.
You wouldn't be able to do it next year.
Yeah, that you wouldn't. You
it'd be
can't
right
because it'd
before
be past the election. Yeah,
exactly.
the election would have already happened, or during the election and with continuing resolutions and like and keeping the government open for like these CRs.
Yeah,
that would like lead up into the election. So yeah, if you're a Republican with no moral compass and no conscience, then yeah, sure, why not? If you have this card, see what happens. There's no harm, If Biden loses a couple points, great. If a few elderly people die, and so be it, right? Like
yeah, that's something they're willing to sacrifice your life in the name of
1 or 2 percentage points.
Exactly.
Sure. In the potential. I don't know. I wouldn't. That didn't occur to me. I don't think I am not cynical or evil enough to like have thought of that. But maybe maybe the Republicans are. I don't know.
I'm just thinking, politics. People, Machiavellian politics. People will do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
For the appearance, again, the appearance of what is happening now. Because if it's happening now, who is president? Biden. They're going to blame Biden because people. I mean, God, they think lizard people are real. So they're not going to be able to put 2 and 2 together to be like, oh no, the Republicans are not doing this. And hence that is what's causing everything. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it might be 50-50 for me. I want to see what plays out though. I think that's what's going to happen in my opinion. They're going to have a government shutdown for a single month and then they're going to reinstate it. But it's going to piss off enough people where they might shift a point or two towards Trump.
Yeah, I mean, did we talk about this last time? I don't think we have yet. Maybe we mentioned it, but I don't mean that. I mean that how far down Biden is over Trump if the election were held today. Like in a general election, Biden-Trump, it's like 51-42 or something in favor of Trump.
Close.
It's like no, it's not close. It's like almost 10% in
I know,
favor
but
of Trump.
where you're out.
No. I'm saying if the polling shows that if the election were held today between Trump and Biden, Trump would absolutely crush Biden, and like that's pretty scary polling. So like
51-42, you said?
Yeah.
Biden's the 42.
Yeah.
So imagine now it's Trump 51 and Biden's 39.
Yeah.
Yeah. 53 and 39.
Yeah, even more insurmountable. So it's just I think a lot of people are saying at this point, like I just don't see. There's just not a way for Biden to win, which is just pretty unfortunate. Not unfortunate, and I want to have an episode just on like the ethics of electoral politics and whether or not, as a leftist or as a Marxist, should you vote. We should have an episode where we discuss that.
Okay, I'm down for that. That'd be interesting.
Like no news, no notes. We'll have to find a slow week and just discuss that. Like
they'll have to be like once a month type of thing where we do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just as because like I don't know.
Or we could, if you want, we could even do 2 things. I come in earlier and then we just do a podcast of that, and then we'll do the news.
One news story, and then
and then what's
have
called
a conversation.
Yeah, and then I'll put one out on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, and then I'll put one out on Friday.
Oh, okay.
As an extra episode.
Oh, you're saying just record 2 episodes back to back?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
I mean, if you're already running, you just have to click start and then resume.
Yeah.
All right. You can find us on Revolutionary Rhetoric at gmail.com if you have any questions or if you want to give us some tips on what you think we should talk about.
Yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, revolutionaryrhetoric@gmail.com. Just email us if you want to just say, hey.
Hey.
That's me. I have it.
I'll
email it here. Although, actually, now that I say that, I don't think I've checked it since I started it. So maybe I need to start.
I do.
Oh, you check it? Okay.
Yeah, I have notifications popping up.
Oh, I don't. Okay, cool.
Yeah. For Instagram, it's Revolutionary Rhetoric Pod. On Twitter, it's the Rev Rhetoric Pod because, of course, Elon's 10 or whatever 15 character max.
Silly.
TikTok, Revolutionary Rhetoric. YouTube, Revolutionary Rhetoric Pod. Subscribe, please, and then smash that like button, and maybe we can smash the comment section together.
Yeah. I'll go if there's comments on any of the older videos. I'll go through and I'll reply to them right now.
Yeah, that's
start this conversation. With
I love comments. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what I want more than anything is to have some rightoid start posting about our filthy commies.
Yeah. Oh God, I literally just want Ben Shapiro to be like. There's a new Revolutionary Rhetoric podcast.
Have you seen these guys? Spreading more lies.
Spreading more lies. Their liberal agenda.
You're pretty good at Ben Shapiro. I think we're gonna work on our. I feel like I'm pretty good at my Jordan Peterson. I got good at Jordan Peterson.
Oh, I got pretty good at Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, let me do that. These woke moralists.
What would we do without men?
No, that's so much better. That's so good. All right. Oh, damn.
These woke moralists.
Woke moralists?
They're coming to take your child.
I like Chinese dick milking porn.
Wait, Tucker Carlson. What was that? Oh my God, what was that he said?
The
Milk exploding porn or
yeah, whatever that thing Jordan Peterson tweeted.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Good stuff.
That's great.
Well, on that note,
we really got to make an outro.
Yeah, a proper outro. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Give us the follow.
Until then, fuck off, you fuckers.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say we'll see you next time, but apparently fuck off. All right, that works. That works too, I guess.
I love you guys.
Bye.
I'll see you.